Wizards didn't playtest with Nadu. It was admitted today that the final version of this card, the one that we actually opened in booster packs, the one that got banned today in Modern, was not playtested. That's nuts, right? Let's talk about how. So to catch you up, Nadu Winged Wisdom was banned this morning in Modern. There were other bannings in other formats. I did a whole video about that, you can watch it. But there was an article released written by Michael Majors. Majors, for the record, is a former pro, Grand Prix winner, multiple top 16s in Pro Tours, has worked in development on a bunch of sets, was a designer on Modern Horizons 1, and was the lead designer on Modern Horizons 3. So after the ban was announced this morning, Majors came out and wrote an article explaining a bunch of stuff about Nadu. So first of all, check this out. Majors confirmed that for the majority of development on Modern Horizons 3, this was the original version of Nadu. 1 blue-green for a 3/4 legendary creature, flying, right? You may cast permanent spells as though they had flash. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, put it on the battlefield, otherwise put it into your hand. This card seems cool, it seems very powerful, it doesn't quite have the I'm gonna take a 48-minute turn type of vibe to it, and most notably, nothing happens when you target your own creatures, which is really the biggest difference here. But also, this is kind of an entirely different Magic card. Majors talked about the process of designing a set. They bring in outside contractors, some of which I think are former pros, people who have worked on Magic sets before, and they work at a very truncated timeline of a few weeks, playtesting the crap out of these cards, making notes, discussing what's good, what's bad, what should be in the set, what shouldn't. However, it was confirmed that changes were made to this Nadu after those contractors were done. And so Majors writes, I have faith that if the current Nadu had been scrutinized while our contractors were actively playtesting, things would have turned out better. Majors continues to write, I miss the interaction with 0 mana abilities that are so problematic. The last round of folks who were shown the card in the building missed it too. We didn't playtest with Nadu's final iteration as we were too far along in the process and it shipped as is. Ultimately, the card was my responsibility as the lead designer of the set. I give a lot of credit to Majors for writing this and taking this responsibility. There's a lot of interactions and a huge amount of complexity when you design a set like Modern Horizons 3. I mean, that's the case for kind of any Magic product. But one of the additional talking points in his article, which I encourage you to read, by the way, is that he felt this new version of Nadu leaned into a really cool space where it would be a great commander card, like an iconic commander card. His specific quote is that ultimately my intention was to create a build-around aimed at commander play, which resulted in the final text. There are a lot of significant takeaways from this Nadu situation. There's a bunch of Wizards employees who are commenting about this on Twitter, who are talking about it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the thing we're running into with Nadu is that it's an extremely high-power card in an extremely high-powered set. The inevitability of cards like this existing when you print cards directly into a power format like Modern is that the power creep is just gonna be there. It's really hard to make exciting cards in a set like Modern Horizons 3 without pushing the crap out of them. On top of which, as Magic approaches 40,000 unique Magic cards, releasing more product right now than they ever have before, there's just not gonna be any functional way to properly test every Magic card to be backwards compatible with every other card ever. I mean, the cards Shuko and Outrider Encore, which are the two cards in Modern that really made this a problem, no one plays those cards. Shuko was played in like Cephalid Breakfast decks, and Outrider nobody plays. The bottom line is, I would rather Wizards swings for the fences, making cool, powerful stuff, trying to push the boundaries in general, and make mistakes every once in a while, than to make more sets like Rivals of Ixalan and that era of Magic cards where everything was just like opening a pack of poop. Not to say I don't have cards from that era that I like, just the power level was really, really low, and that's not very fun. Do I think that a Horizon set every 2 years, combined with a bunch of Commander-focused, collector booster-driven products that are going to have high complexity cards intended for Commander that can break constructed formats is a good thing? I think it's a little too much. I'd rather we had products like this happen a little bit less often. Am I pissed about Nadu as a card? No, absolutely not. I would rather have cards like Nadu that I can play in weirdo singleton formats like Highlander Gauntlet all day long and in my Commander decks. Do I think this should have been banned a month ago? Yes. Is the RCQ-driven ban cycle going to change that? Yes. Hats off to Wizards for owning this mistake. Here we are. Let me know if you have any thoughts, comments below.